Welcome to Astro Venture, the DSLR astrophotography channel. Hey there, Astro Ventures. Welcome back. If you're new to this astrophotography channel, my name is George, and this is the astrophotography channel for DSLR or mirrorless camera bodies, combined with the lenses you own and a simple star tracker like the Skyguider Pro or the Star Adventurer. Tonight, I am in a local deep space. Let me say it again. I'm here in a local dark sky park. And we have been buried under smoke from California for the entire summer. And today we got some rainstorms that came through, some winds, and it punched a hole through that smoke. So I decided I've got to run out and take this opportunity and try and photograph something that I haven't been able to get access to the entire summer because of the California smoke. So I am attempting to capture the Heart and Soul Nebula. This particular nebula, you really kind of have to have a full spectrum camera for this one, and I'll correct it on the screen when I put this video together, but if I remember correctly, this is a magnitude 18 nebula, so it's quite faint to try and capture. So hopefully the weather will cooperate, the clouds will stay at bay. It's supposed to be kind of intermittent, but we'll see what happens. Although they are forecasting between 1 and 3 a.m. I am supposed to have clear skies. So hopefully, maybe I can at least get 2 solid hours in there. But we'll take what we can get when we have this kind of clear air because, as I said, we haven't had it all summer. So we'll catch up with you again, maybe later in the night, or it may be at the computer when hopefully we've got some data to process. Astro Ventures, a quick update here. As I said, we had all that rain that came down today, so we do have higher humidity than we normally do. And as of about 11 minutes of shooting, I seem to be losing to the clouds. They have started to appear over my targets. Well, Astro Ventures, the clouds cleared out, gave us about 3 more minutes of shooting time, and they rolled back in. It looks like the clouds are moving out. North Star is starting to reveal itself. So I'll be able to get my polar alignment. So I'm really excited. The clouds have moved past. The sky is clear. Everything looks beautiful in every direction. And no smoke has rolled in. I think I might have gotten an hour worth of data tonight in total. I'm hoping so. But there's nothing more I can do. The clouds are just overwhelming me, and I just don't think it's gonna happen, and now they're becoming just too spotty. So guess I'll rejoin you at the computer and we'll see what we pulled off. Well, Astro Ventures, in the last clip from out in the field, you saw that well, you probably heard that I seemed a bit disappointed in how the evening turned out with it battling the clouds back and forth. Once I got home, though, and I put all of my data into Deep Sky Stacker, it turns out that I ended up with a 1 hour and 40 minutes worth of data. So although I was shooting for 3 hours of data, I ended up with 1 hour and 40. And because of how clear the sky was that evening, it actually came out pretty good. So I'm excited. It kind of really turned it around because I was quite disappointed. So let's get going on this, and I'm going to move quickly through this. So Heart and Soul Nebula, Deep Sky Stacker, stacked it, saved it as 16-bit data. This is from a full spectrum camera, so we do end up with this red cast that you can see in the image. So I open it up in the camera raw. I'm not going to edit anything here. I'm just going to go straight to opening it into the main body of Photoshop. So here we go. I'm going to full screen this. Okay, now something that I like to do right off the bat here is go into Image, Adjustments, and then down to Match Color. and then I like to click this neutralize here. And I do this because it has worked really well for me for getting rid of that red cast of my full spectrum camera. I've also used it where there has been color cast due to just the shooting conditions and some of the city lights. So we're going to get into this edit really quickly and move through it. Now, first thing that I've recently started doing, you'll notice that this channel is in red, green, and blue combined. Normally I used to start with just the red, the green, the blue, but I've changed that up a bit. And the very first levels adjustment that I do, and that's Control L to make the adjustment, is I do it with the RGB in place and make the very first one. And now from here, I'm going to start working the individual channels. I did that the one day, and I'm bringing it to the base of this hill going up and down. I did this the one day, just kind of contemplating, how I might speed up this process a bit, and it's actually worked for me. If you have a comment as to why you think I shouldn't do that, feel free to share it. This channel is all about learning, and if you have some input there, please share it. But I find that it speeds it up for me. So here we go. I am almost through my red adjustment, and you can see it starting to come through there. Okay, and my red is now done. I'm going to jump over to my green. And this is where, like I said, I really like that first adjustment with all three channels being in there. It seems to pick up my process for me and speed it up. So here we go with the green. I'm not too far off from being done with the green now. And let's see here. There we go. Slide this over a little bit more. Slide this over. And there's no particular specific way of doing this. You just kind of work out your own system. I'm liking the way red and green are overlapping, and now I'm going to jump over to the blue. And as I work the blue, I kind of look to the background area, looking for my surrounding area of space to go to a more blacker color without a color cast to it. Almost finished. Pull this over just a little bit more. And I think I am about happy with that. Now over here on the left hand side, you can see that I've got this this light gradient coming because the right hand side was actually more towards the zenith straight up and over. This side over here on the left was more towards the city lights, and that's why I have this gradient. And even though I was using a light pollution filter, it still affects it. I'm now going to go into the filter raw, and I'm going to make a gradient adjustment and reset this. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to bring down the exposure over here to the side so I can darken that up a bit just to kind of even it up some. And there we go. Okay, so there's that adjustment. I'm going to go, and earlier when I was doing the levels, that was Control L on a PC. I apologize, I am not familiar with Mac. Control L to bring the levels up, and then I'm going to do a Control J now to make a duplicate layer. In here, I'm going to go into the filter, camera raw, and I'm going to start making some adjustments. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go under the basic. I'm going to bring my exposure up a bit. I'm going to give it a little bump of contrast, and then I am going to push my vibrance up. Now, if you're unfamiliar with vibrance, vibrance is like saturation, but it tends to stay away from flesh tone colors. It's used a lot more heavy, or a lot heavier in portrait photography people than it is for this, although it does work. So I'm doing a combination of the both. Now, one of the things I notice is I'm getting a lot of purple cast out in there. I'm going to adjust my tint a bit. I'm going to pull some of that magenta out of there. I'm going to play with my blue and yellow until I get to a happy place there. Okay, I have got that. Now I'm going to go click OK. And so I've got this going, and I'm going to make another level. And I apologize, I'm trying to work quickly to speed this up. So this first layer here was my raw adjustment. That was my initial. This one here, I'm going to go back into camera raw. And in my camera raw, my intention this time is to get into my color mixer, and I'm going to go over to the hue, and I'm going to push some of this orange towards the red, and then I'm going to push the red back towards the orange a little bit to strengthen this up. And then I'm going to come into my saturation. I'm going to increase the saturation on the red. And I'm going to push down the saturation. Nope, I'm sorry. I pushed down the saturation. I meant to push up the saturation a bit on the orange. Okay. And that's to strengthen up this nebula area here. Okay. Have a bit of gradient going here. I'm not going to worry about it at the moment. So let's take a look here at how this adjustment has gone. So clicking off the eye, here's where we had our initial adjustment. Then we did a raw adjustment, and then we did a color adjustment on it. And then next I am going to come into my curves. I'm going to bring up some of the highlights. I'm going to push down in the darker area. Gives me a bit of contrast. I can click on this eyeball and see how much it's doing for me. It's not doing much. I'm going to push this up a bit more. Yeah, stupid mistake on my part. I'm going to throw this away. I'm trash canning this. Problem is, guys, is I had the background selected. I need to go up here to the top layer to do this curves adjustment. That was my mistake. And just, you know, we don't always get it right. Okay, here we go. I'm going to adjust that. There we go. Now we're seeing some adjustment. I brought the brighter parts up, bringing the darker parts down, getting that bit of a curve in there. There we go. This is strengthening it up. Now, at this point here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, because unfortunately I don't have it on this computer. I work between two different computers. On my other machine, I have a program that I use, and I will throw it on the bottom of the screen because it's escaping me at the moment. But on that program, I use a tonal contrast, and what it does is it helps to make these color areas within the heart and soul really pop. Brightens up the brighter parts of the image, and it will help to darken these darker areas. Now, to do this, what I'm going to do, or to show you this, is I'm going to open up the other file. Let's see, here's where I have my Photoshop file, and I will point out the tonal contrast change that it makes. I apologize. Doing the video recording slows down the computer a bit. But I'll be able to show you that pop factor that it does. Now let me shut these down. Okay. And here we go. Okay, so this is about the image that we created. I've got a little bit of purple cast. This needs to be dealt with a little further, but I'm trying to move this quickly along. So here you can see before I took it into my other computer where I did the tonal contrast. Here's the tonal contrast. It popped it. Combined with doing the additional pop in color, pop in stars, I also pushed up the saturation for another round, and that helped with it. Here's a slight curves adjustment, again pushing up the bright. Now, the next thing that I did is I did a bit of masking and pushing of color. And so with this layer that I turned on here, I'll turn it off again, I did some more push of the red. And when I did that, if I disabled this layer mask, okay, you could see it push red everywhere. And what I did is I put this layer mask on here, and then I put the entire mask as black, and then I painted over in white the areas where I wanted to boost that red. Now, the soul over here, its color is a bit different from the heart, so I did another layer, and I will disable this mask. And you can see again the adjustment. This one has a lot more blue showing up in it, but it complemented the soul really well. So same idea. I made an adjustment, got this to the colors that I liked, but to get rid of the rest of this, I brought in a mask. I filled the mask with black, and then I went through and I painted white on my mask everywhere where the soul was to get the color that I wanted there. And did a little bit of a touch up in here on the mask to also pull in the strengthening of the color to get what I finally wanted. So my workflow is a matter of using Photoshop for most of it, and then tonal contrast to help really get the pop. And then one last thing that I did on my actual final image, which we'll show at the end of this video, is down here you can see I've got a bit of glow coming across, and all I did is paint in a bit of darker exposure across the bottom to get rid of that, and then cropped it down to the final image. Well, I hope that helps with editing the Heart and Soul Nebula. I know it was super quick because this video is always already long enough. I absolutely love this image. It turned out really well, and in the end I was quite excited to find out that I had an hour and 40 worth of data, and I'm really curious as to what else I could have pulled if I had been able to get the full 3 hours. And since we're heading into October, that's only going to push the constellation of, and of course it slips me at the moment, Cassiopeia. It's going to push Cassiopeia further up. It's going to push the Heart and Soul further up. And in these cold desert nights, I should be able to get my full 3 hours or more of data and be able to generate an even better image. So I hope that helps. And until next time, Astro Venturers, I wish you clear skies and uneventful nights.